Omar wears a hijab. Is her adherence to this Islamic doctrine indicative of her adherence to Sharia law, which in itself is antithetical to the United States Constitution?
In this video, Tim Miller of the Bulwark takes a look at Trump's naming of Jeanine Pirro as the DA of the District of Columbia. And I don't know if this is better or worse, quite frankly. Jeanine Pirro is quite a character. Tim Miller breaks it down for us. Why don't we watch this video together, and we'll have a laugh at Jeanine Pirro, if one can laugh at such a thing. And then I want to know what you think in the comments.
Breaking news. Donald Trump has named Jeanine Pirro, otherwise known as Judge Box of Wine.
Well, next day I wake up. Judge Jeanine was drunk last night. What? I was drunk.
His nominee for U.S. Attorney in Washington, D.C., Pirro's own executive producer called her a reckless maniac who is nuts and promotes conspiracy theories. That is the type of person that Trump wants to be the lead prosecutor in this important post in Washington, D.C. It's his second choice for that pick after Eagle Ed Martin, who we've discussed a lot on this feed, had to be withdrawn because there were 6 Republican senators who showed a rare amount of backbone, saying that they were not going to put someone in as U.S. attorney who had been on Russia TV a million times and hung out with white nationalists. But it's unclear that Jeanine Pirro is any better of a pick, and I'm going to go through her lowlights. I want to shout out Matt Gertz, who's at Media Matters for America. We've had his boss, Angela Carasone, on this podcast, and very, very friendly with those guys. So shout out to Matt, who kind of cataloged a lot of these various lowlights from the Jeanine Pirro career. I guess before I get to Gertz's lowlights from her time on Fox and on The Five and on her own show before it was canceled and then taken off air, we'll get into all of that. It's worth pointing out that before that, she ran an absolutely embarrassing campaign for Senate in 2005. She famously, at her announcement speech, forgot a page. Campaign launches in 2005. It was a 2006 campaign before she went on to Fox. So she has not practiced law in many, many years, in a couple of decades, I don't believe. I guess coming up on that 2005 campaign would have been the last time she actually practiced law. And since she's been on Fox, she has been utterly irresponsible. Obviously, we'll focus first on the comments around January 6th. That is the Dominion lawsuit that allowed us to see a lot of the internal communication that Fox was having about her comments.
The president's lawyers alleging that American votes in a presidential election are actually counted in a foreign country. These are serious allegations. But the media has no interest in any of this. But you and I do, as we should.
She was one of the most ostentatious promoters of the Stop the Steal effort, talking about how the election was stolen, making up lies about the 2020 election. Her coverage was just flagrantly insane and off the rails. Next to Maria Bartiromo, maybe the most lunacy that you've seen on the Fox network in promotion of Donald Trump's Stop the Steal lies. It was so crazy that Fox executives canceled her show November 7th, 2020, because they didn't trust her to cover it. Going through some of the emails from the Dominion lawsuit. The executive vice president of primetime programming, David Clark, who made the decision to take her off air, he wrote that her guests are all going to say the election is being stolen, and if she pushes back at all, it will be just token. He was a direct supervisor of the show. He also said that Pirro was, quote, not a credible source of news, even though the viewers rely on her to be. Justin Wells, who's Tucker Carlson's producer, wrote that they took her off because she was being crazy. Optics are bad, but she is crazy. That is Tucker Carlson's producer saying that Jeanine Pirro was too crazy to be on Fox. Donald Trump wants her to be the representative for the government in Washington, D.C. Talk about crazy. Talk about lunacy. Republican senators are going to go along with this. They're going to confirm somebody that Tucker's producer thought was too crazy to be on TV. Once you go on there, she returned to her show November 14th. They briefed her. The executives did on a document about what they're supposed to say, what she's supposed to say. But, she continues to platform kooky people. This is now where we get to the emails where some of these producers are saying she's nuts. So that was just around the January 6th part of it. And then we go to the Matt Gertz, going back to shout out to Matt Gertz, this feed on X where he's kind of laying out some of her greatest hits. She called for a cleansing of the FBI and the Justice Department, which she said are full of individuals who should not just be fired, but who need to be taken out in handcuffs.
There is a cleansing needed in our FBI and Department of Justice. It needs to be cleansed of individuals who should not just be fired, but who need to be taken out in handcuffs.
These are going to be her colleagues. She is arguing that her colleagues in the Justice Department, if she becomes U.S. attorney, should be handcuffed and jailed.
Yeah, just to jump in here, when people get all pearl clutchy when you use the word fascist or authoritarian, we're being literal, right? I mean, calling for the jailing of political opponents is authoritarian, and it was one of the things that the fascists did.
She called for Christopher Wray and Jeff Sessions to step down if they were not going to use their power to prosecute Trump's enemies. So that tells you what her view will be about whether or not she feels like it will be her job to prosecute Trump's enemies or not. The answer is yes. Fox once also suspended her for pointing out that Ilhan Omar wears a hijab.
Omar wears a hijab, which according to the Quran 33:59 tells women to cover so they won't get molested. Is her adherence to this Islamic doctrine indicative of her adherence to Sharia law, which in itself is antithetical to the United States Constitution?
Pirro asked, is her adherence to this Islamic doctrine indicative of her adherence to Sharia law, which in itself is antithetical to the United States Constitution? So she, again, as an officer of the court, I guess believes that being a faithful Muslim is antithetical to the United States Constitution. That should be a concern if you are a Muslim in the District of Columbia or in the area where the U.S. attorney from D.C. has a remit, which is really quite broad, the whole country. She got back on as a member of the panel on the five, the crazy member of the panel, which is tough when you're on with Greg Gutfeld and Jesse Waters. It was there. You might recall that she just went all in, defending Trump for all of his crimes, and would attack the prosecutors that were going after him, would attack the jurors, even people that were on the jury. She went after. This is a person that should be as far away from the long arm of the law as possible. The idea that it will be Jeanine Pirro that will decide who to indict, who to target, is ludicrous. It's ludicrous. It's ludicrous across every level. She doesn't have the resume for it. Okay? You're not going to put somebody that's been a talking head for 20 years in charge of this critical U.S. attorney's office. It's ludicrous because she's already said that she wants people in those roles to use them to target political foes. I mean, she said that on her TV show. So you have to assume that's what she would do. And frankly, she is indistinguishable from Eagle Ed Martin. All of the stuff that he was doing, sending these letters, bullying Congressman Robert Garcia, Georgetown, bullying all these, bullying, I believe it was a medical journal. That's the kind of shit that she is going to do. These are not serious people. This is not the neutral prosecution of the law, right? This is not somebody that you would put in place for that. This is a job for a serious lawyer with a long career prosecuting hard criminals. Right? That's what you want in the U.S. Attorney's Office. Somebody who's going after corruption, somebody who's going after, big cases of drug dealers or rape, right? Somebody that has experience in these high-level cases, somebody that has shown judiciousness, somebody that has shown that they are, not going to be, intimidated or bullied or biased, right? She, from her temperament to her resume to her stated comments, this is a totally unacceptable choice. And on top of that, she is the 23rd person that is a Fox News personality nominated to this administration by Donald Trump, something that me and Sam talked about in another video yesterday. Hopefully the 6 Republicans who shot down Eagle Ed will not lose their nerve when it comes to Judge Box of Wine, because, boy, Anybody whose own team, whose own producer says she is nuts and not credible, certainly should not be the U.S. attorney representing the D.C. district for the great old USA.
Absolutely. Tim Miller is right. Jeanine Pirro is the wrong choice for this, and it's obvious on its face. And the bottom line is it's a fatigue game, right? They're trying to wear us out. There is no shortage of sycophantic, power-hungry morons and just the unqualified that are opportunistically going to be put up. You can shoot them down, but, 3 more crop up in their place, and that's part of the strategy. It's exhausting, man. Let me know what you think in the comments.